All right, we're going to have a look at tracking Radial's inbound outbounds from VORs, intersections, and a couple other things. We're going to pretend ATC gave us a clearance to track the Yankee Yankee Zulu VOR outbound on the 140 radial. The regular method that most people know from flying any planes, we'll go down to our radial panel here. We'll tune up the VOR frequency. In this case, it's 112.15. We'll put it on both sides. I'm just going to slow the plane down a little bit here. You know what? I'm just going to put it in the FMC. Slow the plane down so we're not going too far. So we've got the VOR frequency up here in the active. We can bring it up on the our ND here. So VOR 2, VOR 1. Looks like we're about 70 miles away. And the needles are pointing towards our 6 o'clock. We'll put in the, 140 radial outbound. We'll put in the 140 radial. Since we're kind of going away and the 140 is off to our left, you might have to zoom out a bit here to have a look. All right, so there's two lines. We'll put this 140 also. Just so we get one line. All right, let's take up a heading towards the left. Heading selects. And we'll just say we got a clearance to fly heading 070 for now, and we'll be intercepting the 140 radial outbound from YYZ. As you get closer to this green line, we can select VOR loc, and that will track this frequency outbound. Any course you set in here, that will be the track that you will be tracking once you're on that line. If you put the reverse, so let's say 320, it'll give you the exact same line. It'll give you, because it'll show you the one side and it'll show you the reverse side. In this case, if you hit the VOR loc, instead of tracking 140 outbound, it's going to track the 140 radial, but it'll go inbound. So this is what your final track will be that you're flying. In this case, since we're outbound, we'll use 140. If ATC told us fly the 140 radial inbound, we would set 320 on the course so we can fly it inbound. But if you're in a jam, you could always set the exact number they gave you and see if it kind of makes sense and matches up with the expected track. But just make sure to set your course to your final track. Oh. Actually, let's expedite this a bit. We'll speed our minutes. And I'll bring you back once we get closer. All right, we're about 8 miles away from the radial. You'll notice this green line here. Usually we just fly with the position switch off. If you have a VOR tuned up, you can press this button and it'll give you your current radial from that VOR that you're on. So if ATC ever asks you, hey, what's your radial in a non-radar situation, you can just hit this button and you're on the 145 radial currently. We'll just assume ATC, in our scenario right now, we'll assume ATC told us to fly heading 090 to intercept the 140 radial outbound. So put 090 on the heading here. Zoom in a bit more to get a better picture. So, oh, and it looks like we're on it. So we'll hit VOR. There it is. Warlock. What the plane's going to do now is intercept the 140. Oh, it did a bit too tight. What the airplane's going to do now is intercept the 140 radio outbound. Yeah, I should have initiated that turn earlier. That's all right. If you want, you could also use the VOR mode, and that gives you just the a standard HSI. But typically, we either use map mode, and this green light should be extending all the way through. And there we go. Plane slowly intercepting the 140 radial. Let's say they want us to fly the 130 radial inbound. 130 is 310. All right. Let me just go into heading mode so we don't turn. See 130. Let me zoom out a bit so I can see this. 130 radials on our left. So +2, 3, 10. So 130 reciprocal that is 310. See 310. Yeah, looks exactly like before. And we'll turn towards it to fly it inbound now. Oh. This other green line is this course. There you go. We're about 8 miles away. Let's see if I zoom in. Nope, just a glitch in the sim. The green light should extend all the way here. All right, looks like we're pretty close. I'll hit the VOR look. And once we get closer to that radial, let's see where we're on. We're on the 134 radial. Once we get closer to the 130 radial, they'll keep on turning to intercept it. Another way to do this is via FM in the FMC. Let's say we want to go track the 130. Let's say so we can go to legs, put in the VOR at the top, or any fix really. 130 is reciprocal is 310. We'll put 310 on the intercept course right here. Ooh, the simulators, but oh, there we go. There you go. We're right on the 130. The simulator is a bit off with its graphics. So right now we're tracking the not really, but pretty close to it. Not 100% simulator. So now we're tracking via the radios and the courses right here. If you want to do it via the FMC, we can punch YYZ in there, have your inbound track. So if it's a radial inbound, it'll be the reciprocal. If it's radial outbound, it's the exact same number. We'll confirm it. We put 310 in intercept course. That extends the line. Let's clean this up a bit. Let's get rid of this for now. It's generated the 130 rate or 130 radial this over here. We can select once the wings are level. That's about it. We can select LNAV, and that will generate a track to fly direct to this intercept course and fly it inbound. And that's without using the VOR. Normally, you would always have the VOR up as a backup to make sure you're correct. So in this scenario, you could program in YYZ 310 radial 310 intercept course inbound, and you can confirm it by overlaying this, and hopefully the green line should overlay directly over top of the magenta line. Oh, actually, I should be hitting the L. Sorry, I should be hitting the LNAV button. Misclicked. LNAV. If you want to track a radial outbound, so let's go back to the 140. The FMC can only track towards something. It can never track away from something. So we'll have to generate a waypoint somewhere ahead of us in space to track towards. Let's see. Yep, looks like it's still intercepting it. Perfect. So if you want to generate a waypoint, we can go to the fixed page, type in the VOR or the intersection you want. We'll put in a radius or a radial, sorry. So outbound, so 140. And we'll put in a distance that's further away from us. So right now we're 26 DME from YYZ. And since we want to track it outbound, we'll pick a number that's bigger than that. That's further away. So we'll just pick 50 for now. You see that generates another green line on the ND. And it generates a 50-mile ring. The 140 radial only goes one way, unlike the course here. It doesn't extend it both ways. It just makes it on the actual radial. This line right there. What we can do is we can select this line, LSK 2 left in this scenario. It'll generate this at the scratch pad. We'll select legs. We can bring it to the top. And that creates a waypoint down over here. Let me zoom out, have a look. Or you can look at the plan. Let's see. There, that's a bit easier. See, zoom in, zoom in. and that generates a waypoint. Let me get rid of that clutter. That generates a waypoint right here. 140 radial, 50 DME ring, and we want to track it outbound. Before we execute it, we have to extend this center line. Let's see. We'll have to go back to map. So actually, let's see. We'll have to extend this center line, intercept course. So 140 reciprocal is 320. So 320. And the line didn't extend there, so maybe it's just 140. Yeah, that's right. It's tracking outbound. It's 140. We want to make sure the line extends backwards. We'll confirm. Ooh, before we execute it, let me just go back to heading mode so we don't turn. We'll confirm it. We'll execute it. And now that's generated a magenta line for us. And we can start tracking towards it. So let's turn left. I'm trying to zoom in here. Right now, I'm in FMC, heading select VNet path. I'm going to overshoot this line and intercept it from the other side. As soon as we hit wings level, I'm going to select LNAV, and that should generate a track from my present position straight to this track. You don't have to do it at wings level. If you hit it at any time you hit the LNAV, at that instantaneous point, it'll create from your present position to that track. So it's pretty close. Select LNAV. Not on intercept heading. I am on intercept heading. Let's see. All right, actually, this should work. Oh, there it is. Not sure why it didn't work the first time. Should have generated a track here, but I don't see it. And that's about it.